All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We are looking at a text from way back in 1908 by William Walker Atkinson called The Secret of Success. And honestly, it's kind of mind-blowing. These century-old philosophies of the mind and willpower essentially predicted modern performance psychology. We're going to unpack the architecture of success today, but not through your typical generic life advice. Instead, we're diving straight into the inner mechanics of your own mind. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll hit 5 key areas. The secret is within, awakening your spiritedness, the engine of desire, the law of attraction, and finally, cultivating personal magnetism. Let's get to it. All right, section 1, the secret is within. To start this inside-out journey, we have to unlock what Atkinson calls the something within. Look, true success isn't a list of external rules or some paint-by-numbers formula. So I've got to challenge your definition of success right off the bat. Are you a sheep or are you a bellwether? Are you just complacently following a flock, waiting for someone else's bell to guide your footsteps? Or are you charting your own path? The people who achieve great things, the bellwethers, do so by expressing their inherent individuality. They definitely don't wait for permission from the crowd.
Now, think about the actual definition of the word personality. It comes from the Latin word persona, which literally meant a theatrical mask used by actors in ancient times. Crazy, right? The personality you show the world is really just an assumed character. It's the part you're playing on the stage of life. It is not your actual core self. Underneath that mask lies a vital distinction, the contrast between the true, indivisible I and the transient, mechanical parts that make up the me. See, the me is your physical body, your vital energy, and even your constantly shifting mental states and emotions. But the I, that's the real self. That's the master behind the scenes, using the mind and the body to navigate the world. Realizing this distinction is absolutely the first step to unlocking real personal power.
Moving right along, section 2, awakening your spiritedness. So how exactly do we wake up that true I? Well, that brings us to the raw, primal concept of spiritedness. Atkinson shares this striking animal anecdote to explain it. He says, put 2 male baboons in the same cage. Almost immediately, one of them will show this inward shakiness that marks him as the underdog. But the other? He possesses the mettle of the master. This proves that spiritedness isn't about physical size or who has the sharpest teeth or who wins a physical fight. It's an immediate, intuitive, soul quality of mastery that is instantly recognized by others. In essence, spiritedness is an animated, vital strength. It's literally a primitive expression of life, radiating from the very center of your being. This latent power is an elemental force that you can actively develop to assert your inherent individuality in any mental struggle. It's that subtle energy, often called having metal or sand, that makes people just naturally recognize you as a true leader. Which brings us to section 3, the engine of desire. Okay, having found the I and recognized our spiritedness, we have to learn how to power it up. Atkinson uses these incredible metaphors to show how we can tap into a mental second wind when we're properly motivated. Imagine yourself as an electric trolley car. Your will is the trolley pole reaching up to tap into a live wire of universal energy. But desire? Desire is the motivating fire that actually gets you moving, and enthusiasm is the steam generated by that fire. When you align these forces, you unlock massive reserves of dormant mental power you probably didn't even know you possessed. Since this is a highly procedural concept, there are specific steps that show you exactly how to consciously create and harness desire, rather than just being a slave to random urges. Step 1 is to form a crystal clear mental image of what you want in your imagination. Step 2 is to focus your attention firmly on it, making a deep impression on your mind. And step 3, this is absolutely crucial, cultivate an ardent demand for it. You have to learn to want it in the absolute worst way. You gotta let that demand entirely consume your daily thoughts until it becomes a driving force. If we break down enthusiasm, we see it as the vital mental steam that drives our machinery to accomplish great things. It's made of earnestness, concentration, power, and inspired interest. And you know what? Enthusiasm is highly contagious. When you possess this warm, vital quality, you don't just motivate yourself, you naturally draw other people into your projects and your vision, accelerating your path to success. All right, let's shift gears to section 4, the law of attraction. Now that we've got this power, we have to look at how it interacts with the outside world. It is critical to compare these two opposing forces because they operate on the exact same psychological law. Just as burning desire force draws success and the right circumstances to your center, paralyzing fear thought magnetically attracts the very things you dread and expect to fail at. Think about how often you visualize failure before a big meeting. Actually, scratch that. That fear is simply the negative pole of desire. It's doing the exact same magnetic work, but pulling you toward ruin instead of success.
There is nothing to fear except fear. This 100-year-old quote perfectly encapsulates why you must use your will to drive out negative mental images and replace them with fearlessness. You don't get rid of darkness by shoveling it out of a room, right? No way. You simply open the shutters and let the sunlight stream in. You neutralize fear thought by actively cultivating positive thoughts of the opposite quality. And finally, Section 5, cultivating personal magnetism. So we've built the internal foundation, but how do you consciously construct the mask that the world sees? Well, by genuinely cultivating a cheerful disposition, standing tall with unshakable self-respect, actively taking an interest in others, and maintaining absolute self-control, especially in moments of anger. Doing this turns you into a center of mental influence. You draw people toward you. And to be clear, this isn't deception. It's just maximizing your interface with the world. To tie this all together, remember the incredible story from the text of the exhausted hero who swam out in a freezing storm to save 17 people from a shipwreck. When he finally recovered consciousness, his first concern wasn't glory or a medal. Ask yourself the question that he asked his peers. Boys, did I do my best? That is how you measure your own ultimate success. It's never about comparing yourself to the flock. True success is knowing you tapped into your inner reserves and gave it literally everything you had. I want to leave you with this powerful, provocative affirmation. One that proves your success is ultimately dictated by the relentless power of your own mind. I can and I will. Say it, internalize it, and let it drive you. You already possess the inner architecture to achieve greatness. So what are you going to apply this power to today?